Hey everyone, Beth Barany here with How to Write the Future podcast. I am a science fiction and fantasy writer as well as an editor and book coach for science fiction and fantasy writers. I run this podcast because I really believe that we can shape our futures with creativity. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the places I go to for inspiration. I think inspiration is a very important part of being a creative person. So every day I like to listen and watch YouTube videos. It is my go-to place for learning. So today I'm going to share with you a few of my favorite science explainers. What is a science explainer? A science explainer is someone who is often either a journalist or a scientist, and they spend their time talking about science to the layperson in a way that's interesting and fun. Now, of course, science explainers might be speaking at a high school level or a college level, or sometimes science for kids. You can find any kind of science explainer on YouTube. So today I'm going to highlight a few, and this is in no particular order. So the first one I want to talk about is Sabine Hassenfelder. She has a PhD in physics and is the author of the books Lost in Math: How Beauty Leads Physics Astray, and also Existential Physics, a scientist's guide to life's biggest questions. She does a wonderful job bringing humor into her explainer videos. She talks about science, she talks about technology. She's wonderful at the straight talk. She even says on her YouTube channel, no hype, no spin, no tiptoeing around inconvenient truths. And she's German. She has a wonderful approach and humor and also perspective on the cross-section between science and politics and policy. I really enjoy listening to her show. Next up, I'm going to talk about a channel called Physics Girl. It's a YouTube channel created by Diana Carwin, and she talks about the physical sciences with experiments, demonstrations, and new discoveries. Now, she's been on hiatus for the last few years because she's been dealing with long COVID. But she has a very active fan base, and she is recovering from COVID, which is so wonderful, slowly but surely. Her videos are always hands-on, adventurous, and fun, and also down to earth. All right, the next channel I'm going to talk to you about is Geo Girl. This channel is by Rachel Phillips. She has a PhD in geoscience, and so she posts educational videos for people interested in geoscience and the related fields. The history of the earth, geology, geochemistry, paleoclimatology, biogeochemistry, paleontology, and much, much more. Her videos are really fun, and I highly recommend them if you want to know anything about geoscience. Next, I want to talk about Dr. Becky. She is a British astrophysicist. Her full name is Dr. Becky Smethurst. She's an astrophysicist at the University of Oxford. I really enjoy her weekly videos. She's always so enthusiastic, and she focuses not just on what we know, but how we know. And she talks often about the James Webb Space Telescope, and her day job is researching how supermassive black holes affect the galaxies that they live in. And her latest book is A Brief History of Black Holes. I really enjoy her videos quite a lot. And the last YouTuber science explainer I want to talk about today is so interesting because she is a space weather physicist. Her channel is called Tamantha Scove. She's also known as Space Weather Woman, and she's appeared on TV shows like for the History Channel, the Weather Channel. She's been featured in Popular Science magazine and featured on some other really wonderful YouTube science channels. Her mission is to open all of our perceptions around a new kind of weather, space weather. It's fascinating how the sun affects Earth's atmosphere and, of course, satellites, emergency radio communication, disaster relief services, and so much more. So she is really bringing space weather forecasts into our lives with her weekly space weather forecasts on YouTube. So that's it for today in highlighting some of my favorite YouTube channels. I mentioned 6 here today. This is part 1. I'm going to do at least one other episode soon on some more channels. And as you may have noticed, these are all women science explainers and scientists because I really want to highlight women doing science. I was science oriented from a young age, and now I write science fiction as well as fantasy, and I love, love, love learning about science. And I hope you will check out these wonderful science explainers and scientists, and maybe you'll find some wonderful inspiration for your stories. So that's it for this week, everyone. Write long and prosper.